you stop thinking logically about problems. You stop thinking logically about how you're going to get somewhere, and you simply no longer overthink. It's like, of course I'm going to do this. In building, I'm building onlinebusinessowner.com right now, and I'm like, of course it's going to be a multi-8-figure business. Like, how could it not be? Like, to me, that is as real as it had, that it's already happened. It's almost this you've manifested a version of reality that is parallel to the current reality in such clear detail that you are living it before it has existed.
3, 2, 1, go.
I remember reading Steve Jobs' biography, the one that was written by Walt Isaac or Isaac Walt, one of them. And in the book, and this is probably 2010, 2011, and in the book he talks about reality distortion, or in his case, the reality distortion field. And in that moment, I've never felt more seen in my life. I was like, holy shit, whatever that is, I've got that. And so what he was talking about, the car's raising so I don't hit it. So what he was talking about was how Steve Jobs basically didn't live inside of reality. Now, whether or not you like Steve Jobs or Apple, Steve turned imagination into reality multiple times. And most entrepreneurs I meet that are successful and that live a good life live in some version of a reality distortion field, where something that would probably be stressful or difficult or maybe even impossible isn't inside of that person's world. So when I was $1 million in debt, it was pretty conceivable to most people that I was probably going to be in $1 million of debt for like the rest of my life, or to go bankrupt. And to me, in my own reality distortion field, in my delusion, it was like, oh, that's no big deal. Like, I'll figure that out. When I moved to Toronto and set out to do this whole online, entrepreneurship thing, I was like, yeah, of course this is going to be a multi-million-dollar business. And it's not going to take me very long. Like, I've got this, figure it out. And it didn't, but on paper, it should have. I went from zero to having $1 million business in less than a year. That's not realistic. And so reality distortion is really about not being realistic inside of your business, being realistic inside of your life. And I'll say there's great upsides to this, but there's also great downsides to this. It's very difficult. If you're in reality distortion field, it doesn't work for parenting. It doesn't work in your relationship. Those are places that you cannot bring reality distortion. But if you bring it inside of your business, you stop thinking logically about problems. You stop thinking logically about how you're going to get somewhere, and you simply no longer overthink. It's like, of course I'm going to do this. In building, I'm building onlinebusinessowner.com right now, and I'm like, of course it's going to be a multi-8-figure business. Like, how could it not be? Like, to me, that is as real as it had, that it's already happened. It's almost this you've manifested a version of reality that is parallel to the current reality in such clear detail that you are living it before it has existed. And I've met a lot of amazing entrepreneurs, and pretty much every amazing entrepreneur I've ever met has this. There is just simply a lack of this reality, this version of reality, and they're living in a parallel reality that they're bringing into the present, that they're bringing into now. And you ask them how they're going to do it, and they'll probably make something up, right? They'll probably make something up, but they don't know. But all they know is that they are capable of figuring out. And they don't know how they're going to figure it out, but they do know that it's possible for them. It's a very real thing. It's what I've used to create a lot of success in my life. And how do you get it? Like, how do you convince yourself to do it? I don't have an answer for that. I actually don't have an answer for that. And the reason I don't have an answer for that is I've had this since I was a kid. And part of me thinks it could be upbringing. It could be that my parents were like, hey, you can do anything that you ever want. And I believed them, and they created so much self-esteem inside of me that it was almost a delusional level of ego, a delusional level. I was an only child, and there was no version of reality where it was like, yeah, no, I can't do that. It was like, I can literally do fucking anything. I grew up and I never believed anything different. And so I can't tell you that there's some like secret formula or hypnotherapy or whatever it might be to be able to do this. But what I do know is, for me, that's real. And I do know that many entrepreneurs have this. I don't have a process to be able to get it, but what I can say is that as soon as your brain starts believing in the logic of reality of the present moment right now, you say, but that's not what we're doing. We're doing something different than that, and here is the new version of reality. So one thing that might work for you is to see where you are in your life right now, see where you are in your business, and you invent the version that's a level 1 or 2 above that, right? So if you're driving a Honda, maybe you're driving now a McLaren. If you have a business doing $20,000 a month, maybe you're doing $2 million a month. And you start every single day. You wake up in your day and you look at who that person is and what decisions they would make today versus the decisions you're currently making. And those are the decisions you start making. That has certainly worked for me, and I believe that in lack of reality distortion and being able to do that naturally, I believe that allows you to do it in a manufactured way where you get the same result as reality distortion, but being able to do it from more of an intentional, intellectual perspective. So that's reality distortion, the Reality Distortion Field, RDF. By far one of the most effective ways to be able to live your life inside of your business, at least, and is probably responsible for most of my success in doing things that literally make no sense on paper, but they happen in reality because we manifested it to be by simply tapping into a parallel universe that we were crazy enough to believe was actually possible.